Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Suzerain. My goodness. If you remember in the last episode, we had a meeting. We kind of had two meetings. We had one meeting with the conglomerate, the media conglomerate guy, and he pretty much said that he would publish bad stories about me, like he had informants in the Capitol, and that they were going to feed him information, and that he was gonna do bad stories, like post bad stories about me, unless we let it was like HOS, I think that was the name of his company, do whatever it wanted without like any opposition. So basically, I mean, just think about it. Think about if someone walks into your office or has you come to them, by the way. I hate that we went to him. He should have come to us. And he was like, "Oh, you're going to let me do anything that I want to do, and you're not going to do anything to me, but I'm not going to screw you over." You know, like it would be nice if like right now we could click on that and we could start like doing something to him, you know? Like if that company had any type of like just a minor rule infraction, we just go ahead and like release a statement like, "Oh yeah, today the Ministry of Justice is moving forward with a very minor, against this guy's company," and like just keep piling it on, you know? Like anytime he does anything, just keep throwing something on. Just to kind of like make him like understand that he resides inside of a country. This is what I was saying earlier. You have to watch out with people who have too much money or too much political power. Like, they wield more power than anybody with a handgun or a rifle. Like, they just do. Like, they wield so much power, it's not even... It's I don't know. I don't understand why nobody else sees it. I cannot understand. Like what's his face? Bozo. Um, Literally the Washington Post, and I've seen the side-by-side pictures of this, right? Washington Post was writing stories like Jeff Bezos ought to pay his taxes, billionaires get off scot-free with their taxes, yada yada yada. The dude buys the paper. The dude just straight up buys it. He just goes and he buys the Washington Post. And then the next articles that come out are like why the rich shouldn't have to pay taxes, why the elite should get more say in who becomes president. Like literally he buys it and says you're going to stop writing bad stories and you're going to start writing good stories. And because he owns the paper, people go okie dokie, like gotta do it. Anyway, let's start playing the game. Here we go. Briefing on the current diplomatic situation. I believe this is going to be the current diplomatic situation between Rumberg and ourselves, right? Like I think that's what's going to happen. Yeah, Rumberg, do you want West Virginia? Oh no, we can't give him West Virginia because we just paid for. Oh, by the way, when we picked that one company to build this railroad, I forgot to point out the downside. The downside is that company has never ever tried to do anything as difficult as this before. Like they literally have never done anything of this scope ever before. So that was the huge downside to them. But I gotta think that like the nice flat areas, like there has to be. I mean, it's not topographical. Like if you just show me a topographical map and you just showed me how many bridges we were talking about, that might have influenced my decision. But if you remember, we had two choices. We could have had the high-speed rail, or we could have had the highway. Because we went with this company that only wanted $1 from the budget, because the other two companies were going to take $2 from the budget, because I went with that company, I really should have been allowed to do the railroad too, because then I'd be at zero budget, but at least I'd have had both parties happy right off the bat, instead of one party being angry. But anyway, I believe that this is going to be talking about Rumber. I hope it is. I hope we start talking to them. All right. The door opens and David, once a lecturer to me, now the Minister of Foreign Affairs, gently made his way toward my desk. "May I sit down, Mr. President?" "Leave the formality aside, David. Please take a seat." "Of course, it's a pleasure to meet you." "Likewise, we have so much ahead of..." "What? It's a pleasure to see you." "Oh, to see you. I thought I said meet you." And I was like, if he was a lecturer, why are we... Okay. "So much ahead of us to accomplish." He slowly sat down, taking care not to aggravate the arthritis in his knees. He always had an air of gravitas about him, and old age had only served to deepen that. After he settled himself, he regarded me with delight, his blue eyes sparkling. "Look at you, Anton, the fourth president of Sorlin. What a privilege for me. I still remember the first day that you took my class. It was just really cool because in the game when we started building our character, we actually were a history major, I think. And I don't remember this man specifically, but I do remember what he's referring to, us going to uni. I remember how hard we worked on the Angolian trade agreement together. Countless late nights at the ministry. Oh, Angol. Okay, hold on here. Is this Angol? It is. So this guy was a little mad at us because we got a really good trade deal going where he buys a lot more than we buy. So we're making a ton of money off him, and he's not really getting the benefit of that. So he and I worked on that trade deal together. Interesting. Countless late nights at the ministry to finalize. It was an experience for sure. We signed our best trade deal yet with a good slew of trade advantages over Angola. It was even somewhat unfair from my point of view. Yeah, we need to renegotiate that. Somehow the inexplicable ebb and flow of life has lured us here to a position where we can change the course of history. Everything happens for a reason. It was meant to be. This is an opportunity to shape the future, and we'll do precisely that. I'm looking forward to our new foreign policy. Would you like some tea or water? How is your health? Let's start talking about our foreign policy. Let's do that. Let's offer him some. Oh yes, please. Tea and water sounds nice. Thank you very much. He smiled. Good job. Yeah, I would love to spend time talking to him about whatever, but let's get to business. Again, I told you that in one of the videos, people who are really busy, like, people are waiting on them to make a decision. So if we don't use our time wisely here, then the people who are waiting on us to make decisions, they're going to be pushed back. So the whole schedule just gets pushed back, exponentially. And even though we do like this guy, we are an employee, right? So just imagine you're sitting down and you're paying someone to do something and they just start like chit-chatting. You're like, hey man, like a tutor, right? Like if you were sitting down and the tutor just starts talking to you about like your dog, and you're like, yeah, I need to focus on this, So we need to be acting like a president here. Peter is here. Hello, Peter. Oh, no, not Peter. I thought that was Peter. I saw Peter there. Peter was missing. Oh, okay. Well, if you would just read. Oh, yeah. Our vice president is turning into a slouch. We'll talk more later. President Rain, welcome everyone. Yep, let's begin. Very well. This is our chief of staff. Yep. Chief strategist. Okay. I will start by providing a brief overview of our current status with our neighbors. What would you like to start with? Let's hear about Angola. I'm interested. Our brotherly nation to the northeast, Angola, they are still diplomatically non-aligned and probably as one of the most democratic systems between our neighbors. Oh, cool. Economic stagnation is a worry for them. Their primary issue is their heavy reliance on foreign investment from us. Angola is our most friendly neighbor. We have been allies for the longest. Hold on. Non-aligned. Diplomatically, they are non-aligned. But then they're an ally to us. After a rumber, annexed, the fact needs to be a part of the equation. Who annexed what? They annexed. Oh, look at that. So there's a town called Dome, and apparently that used to be part of Angolia, maybe the whole area here, and they annexed it. Wow. Okay, so they lost land, and they rely on us for investment, which sucks because our economy is screwed. So how we go is how they go. Interesting. And they're very afraid of economic stagnation. All right. Unsurprisingly, the Angolan Prime Minister is expecting better cooperation through a new, fairer trade deal with us. It was one of his election mandates. A more comprehensive trade deal sounds better. Yep. Both sides could gain from it, but Angola has more to win than us. They want to protect their weaker industries, which we are profiting from selling our goods to. Additionally, the latest numbers indicate that currently 1 million citizens live in the England region of Soreland. Okay. Probably a million. Go sources. Okay. Okay. All right. So I suppose after this was annexed, people, of course, moved to Angolia, but I guess some of them also came down in here to us. Interesting. Which creates a link between foreign policy and our internal affairs. These people have suffered socioeconomically, which led them to crime and other problems. In addition, a relaxed immigration policy was one of Angola's main requests, which is unacceptable. Most of the migrants in our country haven't even assimilated into shortest culture. Adding more won't help. Now who is this? Our defense minister? I'm skeptical about relaxing immigration. I'm supportive of relaxed immigration. Okay, so what do we gain? Look, if we had a more fair trade deal, then I'm sure they would be. Man, this sucks. This sucks because, there's two schools of mind here, right? Like we can close our borders. Um, Not close them. Jeez, this is a hard choice. If we open them up and we let kind of free flow back and forth between the two, then eventually we're going to reach homeostasis. Like, it's just going to happen. But I don't know if our country that might be too volatile right now. That might be too volatile right now. I'm going to say that we need to kind of fix our problems first, and then on our second term, I'd be more than happy to relax immigration. But if we start that process now, then later in the game, it's already going to kind of be better. Basically, what's happening, we're kicking the can down the road if we don't allow immigration. And it would be great if we could just join together in like the European Union, where we're not. I don't annex him and he doesn't annex me, but we live in under like a common law and a common passport and all that jazz. Like, that'd be sweet. I'm gonna be skeptical about it. I'm not closing the door yet. You should be. We've already witnessed several society shifting waves of migration. We should remember that we promised to tighten our immigration laws in the election campaign. Oh, okay, all right. Well, we did. Okay. So here, who is this? Who is this V country? Not you. We'll talk about you here in a second. So you, yeah. This we need to get an alliance with either of these two countries. Okay. Oh, it actually moves us over there, so we know. Okay, our cousins of old across the sea wish to have a good relations with us. As we know, is a socialist republic aligned with United. They are important regional player. Also the most significant sea power. We had hostile relations with them after several wars in the centuries, which we wouldn't want to experience again. Okay. Recently, the relationship has warmed up as a result, diplomatic talks can be conducted in the future. It's not easy to forget about the Great Fire. Thousands of lives were lost that day. Breaking the ice would be good. If we are to rise diplomatically, we shouldn't take any sides between the regional powers. We're shifting more toward the socialist republic idea than we are the fascist or communist. So I'm going to go ahead and say that we want to talk to those folks. I agree. They could be potential allies, in my opinion. The situation in the region necessitates that we find allies. They shouldn't have been in good relations. They haven't been in good relations with us for the past 200 years. Recently, they have also joined the Communist Security Pact, subjugating themselves to the United. Oh, poo. I thought that was, why? Oh, I guess the Federalist Socialist Republic. Oh my gosh, I thought they were communist. They had the red flag with the yellow. I thought they were communist. They're socialist. Interesting. That's united. Who's the other people? Who are the good guys? Oh, who are the Americans? Who's the American deal? I messed up. Should have said that. You know too much. On top of that, territorial issues flare up between Angola and because of the you know what? That was so funny. I even meant to say something like that. I even meant to say like I saw this and I was like, man, that's so crazy that Angola has this island and not these folks. Because if they have like super good sea power, you would have thought they would have taken this back. But I guess they colonized it back in ye olden times, and it's more their culture than their culture. It's so funny that he brings this up. Okay. Lucan looks slightly worried. Unfortunately, billions of Swordfish Ren worth of cargo is transported close to borders on the Marine Sea and the Gray Strait. This causes significant risk to our imports and exports in the case of deteriorating relations. We can't expect the worst. The Navy is keeping an eye on the situation from a distance, right? We are actively monitoring the sea routes and cargo ships. For now, there is no immediate threat, but we don't know what can happen in the future. Alright. Let's go down here and talk about our neighbor to the west. It is tumultuous in the south as always. It is expanding its power among protests from its people. However, he is quite positive about normalization of relationships between our countries. Reports indicate that they have been warming up to the... That, I think, is the U.S. analog. As you know, instability is always a concern for the region, but if we want to help them, we must not treat refugees like we did in the 30s. I still can't stomach the inhumanity of those people suffered. A trade agreement with them would improve stability and increase mutual trade. Why help such a disorganized state? Not sure about what we can do with them. Paid enough by housing millions of refugees during the Civil War. No more. Let's get a trade deal going, because that's going to help our economy. It's going to make us... if we have a bunch of trade deals with people, it'll be more okay for us to inject ourselves into talks in the region, because we have so many trade deals with people. We need to have access to people, and we need to be a player. It's not going to do any good for us to hang back and just be isolationist, because then when we get picked off, no one's going to care, because no one's going to know who we are. But if we have trade deals with everybody, if we're talking and we're constantly in conversations, then if we have a seat at the table, we'll have a better idea about what's going on, and hopefully, a seat at the table means that more people are willing to help us should push come to shove. There will be many bargaining chips discussed, but we'll be a new partner in the region. We will also invest in stability here. Our main goal should be to avoid a refugee crisis like in the late 20s. That civil war had major security and economic repercussions. One of the demands of the president was to tighten our immigration laws so that political refugees don't escape to Sorlin. There has been a recent purge that pushed many... Oh, that's right. I get it now. Okay, so we read a news article about something here that said there was a route through the mountains or something where these people were fleeing through that route coming into our country, and we were offering them asylum. This guy wants that route closed so that he can round those people up and he can get rid of them. Oh, that's rough. That's rough. I just noticed that lake, I guess there's a lake or there's a river, but there's no river feeding those giant lakes. But I guess it goes up here and comes down. Think about that watershed. There'd have to be a really big mountain here for it to push water this way, like make the water flow north, then make the water flow east, then make the water flow south. Oh, that's weird. And then here, I guess it starts right here. So I guess there's like like the Dolomites, there's like a really big mountain chain here that forces this water to go west, north, east, south, west, southwest. That's funny. Anyway, yeah, we're probably gonna have to to support this president, even though he's a piece of trash. Nationalism with socialist characteristics. Outpost was regained. It's important due to this. I'm sure you would remember that winter at the border. Outpost misspray. Yeah, I was in the army, right? So I guess what he's trying to say here is that there was an outpost that I was stationed at, and after a bit, that outpost was no longer needed. But now, I guess because of this, it's sparking up that outpost is important again. He was right. I did remember that winter. Yes. So what had happened was that we let a group of refugees through, even though we were supposed to turn them back. But they were so helpless, and there were kids among them, so we turned them back, or we let them go through, so they could cross over and find a happier life here, right? And then someone snitched on us, which you should do. Like, if someone does something you're not comfortable with, you should definitely report it. But we know we were relieved of squad command. In fact, there had been a similar refugee situation in the past. Even Mr. President himself chose to disobey direct orders from his commanding officer at the time. I was young and made a mistake. Past is a past. Let's move on. And you made me sleep in a prison cell for it. I will never forget that. Oh, you? Interesting. I did what was right. Soldiers do not decide what is on what is right. Soldiers will do what they are told. Our focus. Yeah. That's so funny because he's talking to the president. So that's weird. I don't like that. Our focus should be on the current matters. Are very large inside 1 and 2. I'm so sorry that I mutter, but I don't know what this word is. Bloodish. I don't know. So I read well until I get to a word I can't read, and I'm just like, I don't know. I just move on. Like this one. It says Wehenla Wehelen. I don't know. I kind of wish this game was a little bit more Western and it had more Western words. This is very Baltic to me, but it makes sense because the Baltic is where World War I started. So there's a lot of history with like complicated treaties and all that jazz, which is cool. I love it, but I'm not a connoisseur of the way the letters sound with each other. It is in our national interest to prevent the formation of a failed state on our west border. It has been increasingly aligning itself toward the Communist Alliance, another point to analyze. 2 important neighboring countries remain. Oh, these jerks. They're going to take me down there. These are the people to the south of us that make good cigars. So let's talk about them. Yes. Our southern border is aligning itself more and more with... This is the United States. That's right. Currently led by the Prime Minister. That's cool. So this is a constitutional republic. And I wonder why the Constitutionalist Republic and then the Communist Socialist, or the Socialist Republic, I wonder why they would be at odds with each other. They are the jewel of the continent and the second largest economy. Though wealthy, suffers from extensive economic inequality. How can they be the jewel, second largest economy, but they suffer from economic inequality? Oh, I guess they have like super duper rich people and then they have like super poor people. Our past relations have been great, but during the last decade, their investments to sorely dwindled due to our instability. Oh, so the rich people are pissed that they didn't get their money from us. Allowing with the rich regional nation could be beneficial. They are only going to ever be about themselves. I can tell you that right now. Like if they're run by a bunch of oligarchs that are super wealthy, then they are only going to care about themselves. I don't really think we should try to get an alliance with them. As a sleeping giant, we should not wake them. They keep turning a blind eye towards the region, thinking that is above it all. They surely are a powerful nation. Despite that, they don't tend to meddle in the region and haven't for a long time, with the exception of let's not antagonize them. I am certain that the recession has a lot to do with their retraction of investments. Once they see the money isn't in the picture, they vanish rather quickly because they are capitalists. They have shown a selfish attitude during the Civil War by closing their borders and funneling refugees to cross into Soreland. Our values are too different with us, and it will be hard to see eye to eye. Yep, I don't like them. I completely agree. Lisbon has for a long time benefited from us through our old tariffs. They are after exploitation. There are hundreds of very privileged oligarchs who invest inside and outside of Lisbon. Some made significant business investments in the cities of... Show me? Oh, just to their north, right? Yep. So there and there. Well, good. I mean, well, why would they? Okay, whatever. Don't know. What's the situation with Rumburg? Oh, you jerks, what they are. Now the most troublesome nation, a constitutional monarchy led by Queen Beatrice Livingston. I highly advise caution and calculated action against them. Our military must be prepared. The threat is real. They are strong and have the motivation as well as the means to damage us. Sorry, folks. Again, no one wants to talk to me until I sit down to make a video. We shouldn't give them any reason to pursue aggression. I will take your advice into consideration. It is and always will be a rogue-like state. Nothing can be done about them. We must prevent them from interfering in our affairs. Yep, take into consideration. These types of nations will always try to make up causeless bellies a reason to declare a war. While Thornburg... Who's Thornburg? It's Livingston. I don't know who Thornburg is. Openly denies such claims. Their past and current actions make it clear that they want to destabilize us. The weapons caches found by our intelligence agency clearly shows that they were what their goals are. Our military must be steadfast and our diplomacy vigilant. Valiant. Looks stern and full of resolve. Man, it would be so stupid to ignore somebody like that with overwhelming military. Like, that's what their strength is. If you look at them, their strength is overwhelming. Overwhelming. Oh, their capital is Thornburg. Okay. The relations are bad. Yeah, it's a threat. We are always in dialogue with our ambassador to make sure channels are open and solve disputes. We could use their aggressive attitude against them by convincing the international community. Their abrupt announcement about the closure of the Roman consulate in La Shaven is yet another step in their escalation. This covers the overview of the current situation. We will move on to our trade choices and the response to Rumburg's diplomatic escalation. The sun began to set over the hills surrounding La Shaven. The team was ready to give advice on the new trade initiative and the response to the latest diplomatic incident. Peter arrived late and a little rougher than usual. It must have been drinking from last night. Hey there, folks. Excuse my delay. I'm sure I didn't miss anything we don't already know. You were still supposed to be a part of this meeting. Also on time. Punctuality is important. We are talking about serious. Peter was assigned a task from me. That's why he is late. Let's move on. They have a point, Peter. We should have discipline in the cabinet. Don't commit. We're not going to comment. He's his own man. It was one time thing. Let's just go on. Okay, cool. The vice president will be part of the trade delegation, so it's great to have the input. Oh no. No, that's not good. There are two issues at hand. Which topic should we tackle first? We should address the diplomatic incidents. Let's do the trade negotiation first. Our primary goal will be to successfully sign a trade agreement with one of our smaller neighbors. We have two options with our trade initiatives: start of a new negotiation with our old partner Angola, and forming a new cooperation with... Okay. Tell me about the deal with Angola. First off, the reason behind this option is more diplomatic than economic, although of course we can't forgo the added economic value. Angola is an old ally and a valuable trade partner. The point we're at with the early negotiation is around the steel trade. They are demanding that we buy their steel for a higher price. That is because they think that the deal is far too imbalanced as it is. Their second main demand is a privileged access to our agricultural market. If we are to fulfill their demand, in return they are offering a full alliance with Sorland against Rumberg. Looking at the current advances of Rumberg near our borders, having a coalition against Rumberg would provide extremely useful. Obviously there will be consequences for entering a full alliance. Mainly the issue is around the islands and his clear intentions on taking over the islands one way or another, and entering a military alliance with Angola will make them furious. Well, gosh bless it. They have a strong. They have weak. Can I click on mine? What is mine gonna say? Come on. What is it that real Potec was? You can't make diplomatic choices on sentiment. You gotta do it on, like, you gotta face the harsh reality of the situation. The harsh reality of the situation, if we just tell Angola to go pound sand and we keep lording it over them, but who's to say? And then we make a strong alliance with these guys, you know? And then we just take that island away from him, and then we annex Angola. There you go. Congratulations. Like that just seems like a piece of trash move right there, you know? Now that the book, The Prince by Machiavelli, apparently he didn't write that as a look, this is how I did it. Apparently people screwed him out of his inheritance and out of his duchy titles. And then he wrote that book like in a prison cell or some crap. And he wrote it like, hey man, these are the hard lessons I have learned. Heed my warning. I want to state my support for the decision to stick to our old ally. Even though I disagree with their demand to relax immigration, we have cooperated with them on many issues in the past. As a solid partner for us, worked on the previous comprehensive trade agreement in the 30s. There are obviously subjects that we would still need to tackle, like our economics, the trade goods, and what to do with immigration. My opinion is that this is a good deal and we should go for it. The new Angolan Prime Minister is trying to improve the existing relationship. The downside is that we would need to make concessions a reality of any trade deal. I would be open to creating a new agreement that would satisfy all sides. Yeah, I'm sorry. Our fates are intertwined at this point. So if Rumberg takes us, or if that other guy over there takes us, like, so be it. You know, this is our culture, and these are the decisions we've made. I was talking to a guy that I work with, really smart dude. He's a doctor, PhD in, I think, philosophy or religious studies. I can't remember. But I was talking to him, and, you know, we had this conversation, like, if your mom was on one side of the room and 4 hostages were on the other side of the room, and the gunman gave you a gun and said, you have to kill one group, either your mom or the 4 hostages. He was adamant. He was like, just give the gun back to the hostage taker. You know, and if the hostage taker kills your mom and those other 4 people and then kills you, the hostage taker can't blame you for that because you gave him the choice. He said, stop thinking in terms of the hostage taker giving you the gun, telling you that you have to make a choice. He said, turn it around. You're now the hostage taker. And the hostage taker before, you're now looking at him and you're giving him that gun saying, no, it's your choice to do it. Right? He's like, the external pressures shouldn't weigh into it. It should be a one-on-one It should be a one-on-one interaction. So, I mean, what would in like an ideal situation, like what's the right thing to do? What's the right thing to do? The right thing is to get a better trade deal for both sides because we're kind of screwing them over. And the right thing to do is honor an old ally and an old friend because they were there during the hard times and in the good times. That's the right thing to do. And that's all you have to do. And if all these people, if Rumberg wants to attack us or these people want to cut off our supplies, so be it. That's their choice to make. Whoever sits there as their president, they're going to have to click the button that we click, the little blue link. They're going to have to click that saying, attack them because they honored an old ally who'd been there for them. Like that's going to be on his shoulders. That's not on our shoulders, right? That's on them. If we decide that Angola is a good option, another point is that they have a very democratic system. After the recent election, as the PM has a mandate to arrange a fair deal with us, also is an avid supporter of relaxing immigration. Since we said we will tighten immigration, he might be reluctant. Starting the highway construction plays a part too. Regardless, if we are going to increase our regional influence to previous levels, we might need to make amends with our neighbors. Ultimately, the decision will be yours as always. Tell me about the trade deal with Whelan. Dealing with a fractured country like Whelan has its positives and negatives. Although it will be lucrative in the short term, there are risks associated with dealing with such a country. They are proposing co-investment projects and a no-tariff agreement. They're proposing co-investment projects and a no-tariff agreement. They are also offering oil in return for attracting foreign capital. However, it is possible that there will be international ramifications of getting closer with a country like. All in all, it is a very lucrative deal for us. However, we need to think about the consequences. I certainly don't support the decision to become friendlier with... I just need to... Whelan. We're going to call it Whelan. And if I'm screwing it up, you can type how to say it. But I'm going to call it Whelan. We carried their burdens for decades. Their immigrants flooded our country, and now they are expecting a deal from us. This is Peter. Hello, Peter. Welcome. Maintaining influence with Whelan could provide useful. Yes, it is risky, but think about our influence on an undeveloped region like that. We could also sell more products and enter their market easily. I'm of the opinion that it is simply too risky. Yes, we would gain resources and immediate capital, but I'm afraid of the consequences. Our economy is freaking shot, man. It's the people that hurt, you know? It's the people that hurt. If we say, no, it's too risky, you know, it's the person living right there in that little place that's going to feel the pinch. It's not going to be the jerk sitting in the castle. Like, he's not going to know one way or the other, okay? It's going to be him that feels the pinch. If we help develop this, at least people are going to start working. At least they're going to have food in their mouths, you know? I say we go for it. The Migrant Crisis was one of the reasons behind the destabilization of Sorland. I would like to point out that it was due to them. If we wish to go forward with a deal, when the time comes, there is a topic of immigration to consider. As known as an isolationist, our promise to tighten our immigration policy will increase the likelihood of the deal. He believes our borders need better security. I personally don't like the idea of getting too close. Yeah, I understand. Me too. Agreed. I still think we should give it a try. Since we did not promise to align with either West or East, it is very likely that their concern would be more around the deal itself. We also need to consider the effect of our economic doctrine plan. The fact that we are headed toward a market economy will have an influence. Good negotiators optimize the interests, which makes the difference become trivial, allowing both sides to reach a deal. Very true. We have a lot of time to prepare before the scheduled visit. I believe this gives a brief overview of our current options. I should address a diplomatic incident. Oh my god, I forgot we have to go through this. Oh, what a meeting. What a meeting. Rumberg Council, Sir Harrington and Sir Bran Harrington announced that the closure of the 120-year-old consulate. Now their diplomatic staff is leaving the city to go back to Thornburg. He blamed the lack of security in Sorlin due to the assassination and the subsequent protests, but it is obvious that they are making excuses. Bastards. First they close their consulate, and then they blame our security. The security situation is under control. They are playing with us. Isn't it telling when other countries are working with us while Rumberg's just cutting more ties with us? The neglect of the president and the chaos of the elections delay our diplomatic efforts. Now, there are only 2 diplomat missions left in Sorland. One is a consulate in Gray, and the other one is in the embassy. So there's a consulate down here, and then there's an embassy here, and then there was a consulate somewhere else. I think it's Leshaven? Probably. We are accustomed to the usual rhetoric, but this is far more serious. I must display strength to my people. We can't be pushed around. They are bluffing. We are used to it by now. I'm going to say that this is a serious situation. They're playing with fire. Look at what disabulation has done to the region. Sorlin breaking apart would tear. Yeah. In my entire career, I would have never seen Arbor relations suffer this much. The previous low point was the annexation of Dome. He was furious. He barely kept himself from signing the desk. Yeah, this guy, he's a hothead. There are worrying developments like the smuggled arms and the buildup near the border. Our military must be buffed up to stand against a regional power. We either respond to this aggressive act with a diplomatic condemnation, or we retaliate by closing our consulate in Dome. I want to say that an escalation would be risky. This early in our presidency, we should focus on creating a negative image in the international scene. The people of Sorlin must be protected no matter the cost. I say we respond equally. Retaliate by closing the consulate in Dome. They think they can bully us. They were never so wrong. Write an official diplomatic response condemning this irresponsible act. Declare that Rumberg aims to destabilize Sorlin and the region. We're going to do that. We're going to do writing first. As you wish, Mr. President, I shall begin work immediately informing the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade. Swaying the international stage is the key to the long-term strategy. I wish we had reacted more strongly. If we don't confront them, they will keep escalating the situation. Well, this is the first step, buddy. This is the first step, okay? They do something else that's a little bit more aggressive, then we might do it. I, on the other hand, am glad that we're taking a more cautious road. Our trade delegation will begin work toward the end of the year. We expect a final negotiation and signing to happen next year. I am very much looking forward to visiting Styleport and nope, with party animals like Divad and Simon. Ha ha ha. Peter laughed as he narrowed his eyes and stared at him. Well, that concludes our meeting, Mr. Rain. Thank you all for coming. Have a good day and enjoy Leshaven. See you later, gentlemen, and good work. Thank you all for coming. I'll take my leave. Sir. Meeting concluded and the team dispersed after my action plan officially began. Okay, geez, what a turn. What a turn. There's obviously going to be beef between our Ministry of Defense guy, Iosofa, and Peter. And he doesn't like us because he sees us as too soft. He's going to try to do a military coup. We got to really keep our ears to the ground against that guy. 7 news articles? Troubling news coming from the mayor. Please don't let that be inside our borders. Well, dang it. It's called an emergency directive authorizing him to use security powers. In an announcement, the mayor said, we are reporting 20 police officers have been heavily wounded. 2 police stations burned to the ground. Holy crap. Protests are taking place in Gun Region in response to the assassination. Yes. Welfare issues of Narbel. Narbel is a city that was once an important trade stop Empire has been in steep decline for the last decade. We have uncovered the hard truth from the residents themselves. Living near our mountains did not wish to disclose his real name and made a shocking remark about the city has region's lack of healthcare services. He was waiting almost 5 months just to get an appointment in the rural region. Can we go here? Narbel? Why is it always inside our borders? Why is it always inside our borders? I guess these are our... Oh, the Shaven Times. Okay, yes. Radical. We need democracy. We're moving that way. A response from McCall was quick. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs sent a strongly worded official diplomatic commendation letter accusing them of destabilizing Soreland and the surrounding regions. Several nations have made supporting statements for Soreland in the Alliance of Nations. Ooh! It is clear that this letter is not just directed at Rumber, but to all surrounding countries observing this serious situation. Nice. All right. That is it for this video. This game is mentally taxing. I mean, it's like 4D chess, you know? What's this? Okay, all right. We're gonna check on that in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.